Grocery Elise.
This is Chidno.
And this is
Bitch, Let's Talk.
So for Pop Tart Roll this week, as we all know, the Super Bowl is officially today. Mm-hmm. This is a very strange ass matchup. Yep. The Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Weird matchup, weird time.
Very weird time. And if you know me, you know I'm a diehard Patriots fan. So it is quite heartbreaking to see our beloved traitor, Tom Brady, get into another fucking Super Bowl. However, he is the GOAT, and we shall pay all type of respect.
One by one.
If they fucking win the Super Bowl, like, that would be so crazy. Like, I felt like he just woke up and was like, you know what? Before I retire, I just want to do some random ass shit. Like, go to a random ass team, take them to the championship.
It's called believing in yourself.
It's like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, this is really, really interesting. I just can't believe this is actually happening. So, I don't like the Buccaneers. However, I love Tom Brady. Even though we're still beefing, you know, I'm still going to root for him regardless. So
this is the year for the impossible.
Clearly, because 2020 has definitely showed us some things. Yep. Yeah, so for halftime today is going to be The Weeknd, which I can't see that being a great idea. I feel like it's going to be the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I mean, they couldn't have had J-Lo because they had her for the election. So it was like, we got to pick and choose which one.
Well, she did it last year, too. She did it with Shakira, and that was Muy Caliente, even though the people were clutching their pearls because, like, oh, my God, there's two spicy Latino women.
Don't know how to act.
And I don't want my daughters to see this. This is disgraceful. I'm like, how do you know what happened if you didn't watch it? If it was so disgraceful, how would you know what had happened on stage if you didn't stay tuned the whole time?
Right, and find out.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, how do you go from J-Lo and Shakira to The Weeknd?
Somebody made money off that, is what it is.
Does he have any fast songs?
Not that I know of.
Everything is, like, sad and...
He's got that one, what is it, The Lights? Blinded by the Lights?
Oh, yeah. And I Can't Feel My Face? Yeah. But even that's not... Yeah, no. Yeah, I think that's going to be the part where I get, like, more food.
Yeah, it's going to be a walk away.
It's going to be definitely a walk away.
Re-up on the cheese and the beans.
Definitely re-up with the chili. I don't see that being a great idea at all. So we shall see. Mm-hmm. I'm just here for the commercials, really.
Basically. Always off the wall.
Last year was pretty good. Like, last year they actually had some decent commercials because I haven't seen any good commercials in a minute. And then last year was pretty good. This year, we shall see.
I normally hit them up on YouTube because they put them all together after.
Oh, like a little montage?
Yeah, it's just absurd. It's just.
But how long do you have to wait for that? Like the next day?
I feel like they get it quick.
Really?
Yeah, them internet scalpers just clipping stuff, putting online.
Yeah, that's true. The internet is not a safe place. They do not play fair. They do not play fair whatsoever. So we'll see. I'm just here for the commercials and the money. You know, I put my money on Brady, so we'll see. We'll see who I have to owe or who owes me. So the amazing Stacey Abrams is being nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, which is absolutely fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. And it's for her work for promoting the Voters' Rights Act in Georgia. First of all, that woman can absolutely do no wrong in my book. She has been such a pivotal person without being in the limelight in the way that I guess people will want her to be.
Yeah.
But she's been
putting in the work.
Yeah, she's just focusing and putting in the work so she can get the results. Like, it's no point in being popular if there's no change that comes with it.
Absolutely.
You know, and so I really appreciate all her work and dedication. So I'm definitely rooting for her. And other candidates will include the Black Lives Matter movement and also U.S. Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who's also a Black woman. It's just such an amazing time to get your work appreciated and valued. So clearly I'm rooting for all the Black people.
Absolutely.
But I think Stacey Abrams is beyond deserving for her work that she put in this following year, especially in Georgia. Yeah. Because Georgia was ratchet as fuck when it came down to the election. It's a lot of drama when it comes to the South.
2020 is going to be unpacked for years to come.
Yeah. We're going to be reveling in that for a minute. Yeah, pretty much. So I hope they win. I think they come out April. Like, we found out who the winner is in April, I believe. I might be wrong, but I think it's around that time, like sometime in the spring, where they'll announce
Make the announcement.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I am rooting for her. I'm rooting for all the black people, actually, that's nominated.
Yeah, boy.
So, it is February, and it is Black History Month. And although I am black every day, I just put a razzle dazzle on February. So Pop Sugar decided to write this article about movies that are just great black movies without it being stemmed from trauma and wrapped in trauma and will become traumatizing. And there's no shade to those movies. However, I do think that there's a narrative when it comes to cinema that we can have great movies, and it doesn't have to be about slavery. It doesn't have to be about so much
we can have our
pain.
own positive, forward-facing.
Yeah, like, we're not a monolithic group of people, so we have so many different stories to tell. So I have a list. Some of them are on the Pop Sugar article, so if you want to kind of look into it to kind of see what your new Netflix and chill is going to be during this snowy time, go right ahead. Some of it is from there, and some of it is my own personal one. So I said Barbershop. Just a really feel-good classic black movie. Just funny. Yeah, like, it's just a really good, family movie. I also like Beauty Shop, which derived from Barbershop, which is like the female version with Queen Latifah. Ice Cube wrote that as well. Hidden Figures.
That was good.
It literally still fucks with me to this day that I did not know this story existed.
Oh, yeah.
It took, all this time for this story to be told, and it's just an amazing story. So if you've never seen Hidden Figures, please go see it. Not go, but rent it.
Go to your couch. Go to your laptop.
Yeah, because you can't go any goddamn where. That's absolutely a fact. Cinderella with Whitney Houston and Brandy. Such a fucking classic, which is officially on Disney Plus. That is something that is going to be happening this week.
Because I got Disney Plus and I don't watch barely anything on it. So that's perfect. Now I got something to watch.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in so long, like that movie in itself. And just, I feel like as I'm older, like I can really appreciate it now. But like, yes, come through. Because that was such a multicultural movie. And our young asses didn't even realize.
No, you take it for granted.
Yeah, because like Whoopi Goldberg was the prince's mother. And then the father was a white man. And then the son, which was a prince, looked like a Filipino man.
Got everybody in that.
Yeah. Right. Clearly Brandy's black and Whitney Houston was the fairy godmother. Like, I think it was way before its time, before all this.
A lot of things were.
Diversity, inclusion, as we like to call it in corporate.
In corporate. Per my last email.
Respectfully so.
Respectfully.
I also have Girl Trip, which is just absolutely fucking hilarious. Right. That's going to be me in March with me and the girls. We're going to be turning up in Miami. That's just a feel good. It's just hilarious. Brown Sugar, one of my favorite black romantic comedies. It's just timeless. That and Love and Basketball. I always have these arguments about which one is better.
Love and Basketball is my number one.
Really?
It's my number one.
It used to be, but then like I really love Brown Sugar. I don't know. I mean, the premise is pretty much the same. Just two best friends falling in love, that whole ordeal. Yeah. But like everybody loves Love and Basketball, and I do. But I love Brown Sugar so much more.
Brown Sugar hit a little bit different.
It do hit. I think because we're older. Yeah. I think Love and Basketball we cherished because we were kids and everyone idolized Michael Jordan at that time.
Won't be like Mike.
Yeah, Brown Sugar is like, oh, this is some real ass shit. Like, 30s hit different. I'll just say that. I also have the Bad Boys Trilogy.
Oh, definitely slept on.
Definitely slept on.
Action masterpiece.
It really, really, truly is. I didn't realize how much I love Bad Boys until I saw the third one and then I rewatched the first two. Yep. I was like, oh my God, this shit is just
really good.
Gold. Like, I didn't think Bad Boys 3 was going to be as good as it was because normally trilogies are trash.
Yeah, it's really hard to follow up.
It's so hard, and I was like, how are they going to make it relevant? And they did a seamless job. So I'm very impressed. I'm currently watching L.A. Finest, which is a spinoff of Bad Boys, and it's with Gabrielle Union and Jessica Alba.
I gotta check that out.
That shit is dope as fuck. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I love that show. I watch it. Yeah. So the first season on Netflix, everybody, if you're gonna watch LA Finest. And the last one I have is Last Holiday. This is like a feel good. I wouldn't even. Well, I guess it's considered a romantic comedy. It's with, what's her name? Queen Latifah and LL Cool J.
Man, I ain't heard his name in a minute.
I know. Washboard abs. Really nice abs. Anyway, before I venture off. Yeah, like it was a really great movie. You know what I mean? And like I think sometimes like as filmmakers, I feel like a lot of our movies that are based in trauma, they do it so they can win an Oscar. Because I feel like in order for you to get like certain accolades, you have to like portray this very insane
pigeonhole roles they expect.
Like there's great movies that doesn't have to be, you know, babied and oiled up and dolled up in trauma. Like it's okay to have some separation there. So I'm saying I think my list is pretty decent. Do you have anyone?
Yeah, I definitely got two. I appreciate the silliness in Black culture, so I'm gonna put Good Burger on there, and I'm gonna absolutely put Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Yo,
which is one of the dumbest and most funny movies I've ever seen in my life.
But that shit is so hilarious.
Yo, destroys you, yo.
Destroys me. I saw it like 3 months ago, like randomly, and I got just
these cheeseburgers, man. Yep.
When it was just like fucking at the cookout.
Yep.
Just butt naked. Everybody's just having a good time, and then they're just having sex.
The Hotep dude saying,
"Oh my god!"
And he the one doing it. It's hilarious, and the jokes don't stop. It's
the jokes don't stop. Yeah, those are some good choices. Yep. A Good Burger. That's just a Nickelodeon classic. If you are not a 90s baby, you won't appreciate the nostalgia.
Find a way to appreciate it. You're missing out.
It is one I forgot to mention. Sorry to Bother You is also a really, really great movie. It is bizarre as fuck. However, I will definitely recommend watching that. And all of these are not specifically like on Netflix. Like y'all gonna have to do your own research.
Yeah. Go to the couch. Go to the
couch. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, this is something. It's cold outside. It's officially snowing now, which absolutely sucks. So I would definitely say, take the time out and watch a good, feel-good Black movie.
Catch up on some culture.
That's not going to make you cry or make you want to beat up the white people. It's very triggering sometimes. Yes. So for our Black Magic this week, of course, once again, it's Black History Month. So, I have to give you Black history facts. And it always upsets me that Black History Month is always just highlighting our precious 4 people. But we're going to do people that you don't normally hear about. So this week, we're actually going to talk about Dr. Daniel Hale Williams. He actually is the first Black cardiologist who performed the first successful open heart surgery. He also founded the first interracial hospital, private hospital, and training school. He also created 2 hospital-based training programs for nursing. And he also co-founded the National Medical Association, which is still used today. He was born in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania on January 18th, 1856. Daniel was the eldest son of 8 children. Around 10, his father died of tuberculosis, and his family moved to Baltimore, Maryland. He actually graduated with his medical degree in 1883 at Chicago Medical College. Dr. Williams practiced medicine in Chicago at a time where there were only 3 Black physicians in Chicago, and he also worked with the Equal Rights League, Black Civil Rights Organization, and during the Reconstructive era. So I would like to say thank you.
Thank you.
Oldest
of 8 kids.
Oldest.
He's responsible his whole life.
He's been a parent his whole life. I'm pretty sure a complex comes with that.
That's the only way you get through that.
Yeah. I mean, clearly you endured and suffered, and we want to pay homage to those who have completely have impacted not just the United States, but this world. So thank you for your contribution.
Thank you very much.
Because that surgery has saved millions of lives. So if it wasn't for you,
Wouldn't have it.
we wouldn't have it. So thank you. So for our panel discussion for this week, we have a wonderful guest. His name is Rollins. He actually is the creator and owner of I'm going to say this wrong, Mansa.
Hey.
I said it right. Mansa Wealth App. Okay.
It's because you have a performer's soul.
I know. It's weird.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Alrighty. So my
How's
co-host
it going?
How's
is
it
going
going?
good.
Good.
Thank you so much
good.
for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's get into it. So you are the creator of the Mansa Wealth app. Can you tell us about that and how you got started?
Absolutely. So, well, the Mansa Wealth app started really last summer, really when the pandemic hit and we were home. I'm an educator, so I teach, but on top of teaching, I'm invested in supporting students and businesses when it comes to just learning and finding ways to grow in themselves.
Gotcha.
So I've always looked at different ways to empower people, and really when the pandemic hit, my time was limited. Like, we were all at home, but people are dealing with at home, from health to family to bills to life.
Yeah, a lot of situations.
There's a lot going on. And then, for some people, like with me, the virus and this whole pandemic, when it comes to COVID and having to get vaccinated, has been a big thing, at least for me. Because I know some people are really for it, and I'm not.
I agree with you.
Right.
So because of that, I think down the line, and I'm like, well, as an educator, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I foresee it happening. And, my wife and I, we kind of go back and forth with different opinions from time to time. But I believe that what can end up happening is you being forced, depending on your profession, to get vaccinated if you want to continue to work. And if you're not willing to vaccinate yourself, people are going to be stuck.
Right.
So it's either going to be and they're going to have to vaccinate, right? Because otherwise you can't pay your bills, and you can't live, you can't take care of your family. So if you didn't want to get vaccinated, you'll be forced to, because otherwise you won't be able to live your life like you normally do. So kind of thinking about that, I was like, well, what is going to be something that can actually happen that can help people and support businesses? And then I think about myself, and I always want to buy Black owned, and I don't know where to look and where to find them and where to locate them. And you can look online, but people look for convenience, and it's hard. Like, every single time you need something, you're not going to just sit there and go online and find a business that you know. And most times you won't find them, right? You can't just find them. You can't find them.
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out a way to allow people to do that. And maybe like a year or two ago, I had the idea and didn't push it, because I heard that I think there were some celebrities that were supposed to be doing something similar. So I said, well, I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to try to compete with someone at that level. If they got the finances, it's why do that? So I waited, right? And then this coming the summertime, I'm like, well, I had time. I was in a stage where I told my wife I just needed 7 hours of just dedicated time. I needed a day to work, because I got 2 girls. They're 4 years old. They'll be 5 this year in a couple months. So for me, it was if I get some time to work, then let me just figure out how I can make my mark to fight these battles that we're all having, right? Because you have some people that were going out and protesting, asking for equal rights, and it's like you have all of these people fighting their battles or fighting the fight in their own way.
Yeah.
And I thought about how can I, you know what I mean? And my thing is, how can I fight? How can I add my fight in my own way? Or how can I add to the fight in my own way? And then I started to do research and figuring out how to actually get an app created. And when it came to that and looking for Black-owned businesses, it was an app that was specifically to allow them to easily add themselves, where you can do multiple things, where you can buy products from them, you can get services from them, you can dialogue with them if you need to, you can call them, find their business, find their Instagram if you want to, leave them reviews, purchase from them. And it has the GPS feature too. So if you are anywhere within a 31-mile radius of where their location is, you all can open up the map and see whatever's near you. So I just found a way, I thought of every single thing that we could do, or all the little pieces that we could use to help ourselves grow. And I think the only real way we can have freedom is if we are able to get the economic dollar back to ourselves. And if
Absolutely.
we don't find a way to do that, then we're never going to be able to get out of the position that we're in, and we never really will have any type of power.
Yeah.
And when I mean by power, I mean like even buying power, right? Like we spend, if I'm not mistaken, we're like the third highest richest or the third richest spending race.
Yes, we are.
Like we don't have any money. Right? I'm like we spend it, but we're not spending it in our
We're not
within our
investing in
community. That's the
ourselves.
problem.
Leaves
And it's hard to do that
flow.
because exactly right, and it's hard to do that because for most businesses, if you want to get out there, you have to get into a bigger brand. And you have to pay that money to get inside of a Target, which means really they're getting a piece of that profit that you don't get anyway.
Yep.
So it's like, how can we get rid of the middleman?
Yep.
I mean, and this is just the first step. Mansa Wealth is just the first step. I'm going to come up with other variations of it as the time progresses, but just trying to find a way to really get us on another level as a business and as a community, and that's really what it kind of started as. And then I thought of how can I give back to people in our community, because that's another thing we don't do, right? We talk about like one, yes, our businesses are not getting support, but then our communities really don't get the support they need. Like as a teacher, I see how under-resourced our communities are.
Absolutely.
So it's like it looks like there's money there, but not in the hood.
No.
Right?
No
They don't
books,
have
no
don't have
heating.
the support and the resources to get out of the situation that they're in, or programs or funding to support them when it comes to entrepreneurship or the ideas that they have, or funds for colleges. Like I just see a lot of different things that I'm glad I didn't create Mansa Wealth earlier, because I'm a strong believer that God gives you what you need when you need it, and not too soon, because if you get it too soon, you could do the wrong things and not have the right things in mind. So just trying to figure out how I can fight this whole pandemic battle and look ahead at if something does happen, how we can still make sure we can be afloat and communicate and grow our business without having to rely on anybody else.
I think it was very, very poignant, very deep the way you brought up. When you saw the marches and you saw the social change people were fighting for, you looked inward and said, given your skill set and given, the things you're talented with and the way you see things, how can you help in your way? Because I think that is something that can't be, capitalized, underlined enough. It's like, as a diverse people, we have different skill sets, and we're able to contribute in different ways. There's more issues than the marches. Like you're saying, there's an economic cycle going on as well. That we're, like you said, the money's leaving the community. The money is leaving our circular flow. And so we're not able to build up wealth. We're not able to build up areas. We're not able to get these generational advances like we should. I think it's really cool you identified it and said I could, use tech, which is also something I would love to see, our people get that more of opportunity to do, but use tech to like really try and address that and build us up with that.
That's the new wave. Like we have to use technology in order for us to be able to support the things that we want to do. And I think this pandemic has been a complete example of how can we be innovative in a time where we have to social distance, where we're not able to walk into a store. How are we able to be communal? How are we able to actually create revenue? And so this is the time to really be, innovative and really think outside of the box. So Joe, like, having that type of introspection is very powerful because a lot of people did the complete opposite. Instead of thinking, they were in fear. A lot of times, a lot of people didn't have time to be creative because they were worried about, getting the virus or how they're going to pay their bills or, those things, are definitely important. But for some of us, we're definitely blessed and fortunate enough to be able to say, okay, how can I contribute in a way that's going to help my community?
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit behind the history behind the name of the app?
For sure. And kind of what you said earlier that I kind of want to stand that you mentioned was everyone can do it in their own way. You know what I mean? Like people kind of feel like you can't do anything unless this person has all this money or you have all these resources. But I mean, ultimately it's really on what you individually can do. Say you cook and you cook really, really healthy food, or you cook vegan meals and no one can find you because all they know is that there's a Chick-fil-A and a McDonald's in the corner
right there.
on the same street. That's
Exactly.
cheaper. They're never going to know where you are. So at least when it comes to even the way that we eat, we can even find healthier food, right? If it comes to healthcare services or vegan products or child care services, anything like that. Like it's not like a regular app where if you have products you sell clothing, it's for you. Like it's for those people too.
Right.
But you have a cleaning service, say you do power washing or you detail cars or you have legal services. Like it doesn't matter what you do. It's literally for any platform for you to at least be able to be found and located. So, and I think in terms of life, right, in this whole battle, everyone can do it in their own way because we all play a role.
Yep. We sure do.
Can't do it without like even the podcast, right? This podcast it sends a message.
Yep.
It talks to many people. It delivers a message that then they can share with others that allows the message to carry on. So I'm even happy and grateful for the fact that you had this platform in the first place. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Even having me on here. Absolutely. So the name Mansa Wealth, I found out about Mansa Musa, a king of the Mali Empire in Western Africa way back. And when I heard about him and found out about him or learned about him, I was so upset because I didn't learn about it in school.
Yes.
And even as a teacher, and now seeing and being part of watching and hearing the class be taught and what kids are taught in school, it's still like, man, why is it that we teach them so much negativity about where they come from or negativity about their history? It's always reminded of slavery.
Yep.
But then like you just condition them to teach them about something that's actually going to keep them in a space of this psychological damage that you continue to recycle. And I hated the fact that was taught when you could teach about someone like Mansa Musa who would actually push, if you like follow, right, push growth or economic growth, actually giving back to community, building on colleges or actually creating a college. It's like the amount of wealth that you have and going through and giving back as you travel, investing in the communities that you're going through. I just feel like that's something that we all can do and should do. And there's so much negative that goes or negativity around, but there's also a lot of positive things, even though we never see them. Right? That's another problem. Which I kind of created a platform years ago that I haven't used called When Black Lives Matters, and this was at the time when that Black Lives Matter movement just got started, and I did research on it, and I felt like it wasn't necessarily pushing the agenda that people thought it was. So then I shifted and created it was kind of like a revamped version of World Star, but a positive version because World Star is just too much crap.
It's too toxic and
it
ratchet
is.
as
I'm
hell.
like, what if we had a World Star, but it was actually a World Star of all things that are just positive, nothing negative, only a positive platform.
I would love to see it.
I created. Well, if you go to whenblacklivesmatters.com, it's on there. I haven't done a major update to it, but it's functional.
Okay, well, we need you to get back on it, sir.
I wanna say something else. You seem to have a pattern of just like more so than motivation. You'll get an idea and you'll feel the empowerment, like where others might have been programmed to say, "Oh, I can't do this for XYZ reasons." It seems as if you just don't have that. You're like, "Oh, cool idea. Let's do it." What do you mean I can't do it? Of course I can do it. And then you do it. Like that's great. That's really cool. That's something I would love to see more people embrace.
Thank you. I think that's the Napoleon complex. You know, when you're smaller than most people, you always get you can't do this. It's like, oh really? Oh, I can't do this, and then it means you have to do it because they say you can't do it.
Gotcha.
So
right
now I'm kind of a person that anytime I say I want to do something, I'm like, let me see it through. Like I have so many different pieces of things. I could tell you another one, but you'd be like, what? But I have so many different things that if you have an idea, people sit on them so much. And sometimes it's like you may not have the money to necessarily make it happen now, but you can have the mindset and the time to get the blueprint together. Let me know if I hear screaming. My kids are up there. They're moving around. But when I'm in a space now where like, see, I lost some train of thought. My kids.
You're talking about, just empowerment of doing what you say you want to do and not feeling like you can't do it.
Yeah, just being empowered. Like, because I feel like anytime you have an idea of something that you really want to pursue, you should commit to it. And even if you can't pay for it, write it all out. Right? Write the idea down, write the steps, research it, right? If you know what you don't know, then you know how to find it out by going to Google and researching it.
Yep.
So have an idea, do the research on how to make it happen, write it all out, so that find out how much it costs. Now you have a goal because you know you need X amount of dollars. So now if you're working and you're trying to save money, you actually know what you're saving for.
Yep.
And then while you're doing that, you can still do all your research, right? And I've done that with, I created a patent for a helmet that I haven't even pushed yet. I have a series for a show that I want to push to Netflix.
Oh my God. Look at you. Stop playing
but
games.
These are, but I'm still but I'm still an educator, right? And that still takes up, like, as a father, like, you can't even though I have these ideas of things that I want to do, it's like, you still got to make sure you can pay your immediate bills and take care of your kids.
You have to be realistic.
And be a father. So it's like, you still have to take the patience or be patient with the process.
Yeah, and that's why community is so important, because sometimes I think we take on so much pressure and so much responsibility and we hold on so tightly to things. Like, this is my idea, this is my baby. But at the same time, in order for things to grow, sometimes it's okay to bring other people in. And that's why it's so important to surround yourself with like-minded people, because although I might not be able to help you with your specific dream, I might know somebody that does. You know what I mean?
You
so
never
I think
know
it's
who's in the network.
Exactly. So us having this conversation right now, I can call someone up and say, hey, I have this brilliant Black guy. He has this amazing idea. And they can say, oh, I'm actually an investor and I'm actually looking for people like this. You know, but I think sometimes we sit on things too much, opposed to, and of course you don't want to yell all your ideas to the highest top of the mountain and everyone knows. However, you know, this is the part where community is important, where we can share ideas and build ideas and bring them out to the world and help other people of color, whatever that mission is. But I have to ask you, Joe, for you creating the app, you did that all by yourself?
Yes, there was actually steps to it, because it was I'll say yes, not yes and no. Solely yes, but I got a lot of feedback. I talked to.
Sounds like tech to me.
I got feedback
Sounds like real tech.
Yeah, because you gotta think, like, you don't really do anything by yourself. Like, I had like, my wife had a friend who did app developments before that I talked to and asked questions about. Then I went online and went on a blog and asked about the steps that people have to go through if they want to get the app created. Someone mentioned that you have to first create the actual, like, layout of the screens, what they need to look like. So I got my degree in graphic design, so I could design my own screens. So I developed and created all of the screens that I wanted, and I created a visual for the app. And then I talked to a buddy of mine who's like a mentor, who told me about a coding program and learning how to code. And then I started taking a course about the coding program and went through that process. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey.
But you're here now.
Yeah. I'm
here now.
That's another important thing that I think you've said so many things that are, like, great. You weren't afraid to say this concept, this idea. It's not about the road to get there. It's not about anything I can or can't do. It's that I want this to exist. This needs to exist. I'm going to create this, in some form. And then you just set out and you learned and did all the things you needed to from scratch. Like, you figured it out. And now, the app exists, the conversation about that can happen, and you've got this skill set you've been exposed to. That's like another really, really awesome part of the story.
Yeah, I think one issue we have is that we always think that the only way that you can win is if somebody else loses. Right? Think of the Super Bowl, right? You only win if you have more than that person beat the other team. But ultimately, it's really a win-win game. And once we start seeing that it's actually that we can all win, like, I can win also if you're winning.
Yes.
My win doesn't mean you didn't win, right? We both can win. Our winning can look differently if we do two different things, but we both can still win. That's like collaborating, networking, right? Like, you do. So, like, if someone says, hey, I want to put my business on Mansa, right? Mm-hmm. I made it so much so that as a business, if I were to get an analysis from someone who would probably analyze my business, they would say, I can't believe there's holes, because there's ways that I know that I could charge people that I'm intentionally not trying to charge to allow them to make money on make money. For example, if you want to put if you want to put an ad on Instagram or Facebook and you want to run that ad, right? They'll say you can spend $30 or $10 or whatever for X amount of days or weeks or months or however long you want to run your campaign for. But the way that works is once you have ran out of time, your money is gone. And they'll say that they'll show it to this many people, right? But you have to kind of just trust the data, trust that they showed you, that all those people saw it. And then when that time is up, even if you didn't get any sales, you're SOL. Yep. Whereas with mine, you pay for a certain number of credits for any product that you want to promote. And then whatever you pay for, you don't lose your credits until you actually get clicks.
Wow.
So instead, say you pay for only 5 credits, for example, right? Or 50 credits or 100 credits, whatever you pay for. But you're paying for actual clicks, meaning your ad will stay being one of the main things populated until you actually have people that have clicked on the ad.
Gotcha.
So as a bit from the ownership standpoint of me with Mansa, like, yeah, technically people can have their ads sitting there. Like I had one guy, an investor that I spoke with, he was like, well, why would you do that? He said, that's the way you're letting people get by where they could be paying you quicker or paying you more in a faster time frame if you give them a time period that they lose that money. And I'm like, well, and he was a white guy. And I'm like, well, it's not for that. Like,
that's
I'm not trying to push them to charge the money. I'm pushing them to get their business out there so they can grow their own business. Like, I don't want to get nothing at all if you haven't made anything. I want you to be able to have which is another reason, it's not a monthly subscription. So it's not an app that people will have to pay every single month to have.
Right.
Right? I mean, whereas instead, it's a one-time payment of $4.99. Cheap, right? And you only have to pay one time and you have full access to the app. However, for Apple users, you don't have to pay that until January 1st. I'm not January 1st, I'm sorry, July 1st. So the first 6 months of the app, I made it free for all Apple users because I could, not to throw shade at Android users, only because Android doesn't.
They'd be okay. They'd be right.
We don't care about you Android users. You guys are weirdos anyway.
Android doesn't let you. It's either free or not free. And I knew that I wasn't going to make it completely free, but I also didn't want to give a subscription for it because I need time to allow people to grow and have themselves on there. So really, it's a one-time price that people will pay, but after that, it's you do what you do. Grow your business. You can add as many products as you want. You can use it for the purpose of communication. You can use it for the purpose of letting people, of course, buy from you or rent out your services or rent out your venue if you have a venue, or you just have a brick and mortar location and you want people to come. Or so you have an event and you want to promote your event. It's like the Black Hub, but you also can get your dollars spent within that hub.
It's really interesting that investor you said you spoke to. It really came out to me that they fundamentally did not understand the problem they were trying to solve. Like the world you live in and the world they live in is like too different that they would say that. And
two different worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think it's...
He was like, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I also think it's really dope that you've got that flexible subscription fee, that payment that, you know, you're paying to get on there. Because another concept I've noticed, in the Black community is this idea that everything has to be free. And it's
free, yeah.
It seems like nice up front, but like what you're saying is what we're doing is not worth value.
Absolutely.
And when you devalue something, that affects both people, the person providing the service and the person buying. Like everyone involved needs to value this, even if it's just you giving me $1 for it. We need to be on, this is worth our time, and we need to be serious about this. So I think that's really dope, and that you're still being flexible about it.
Yeah, I had someone tell me that. Like, I went and spoke to a lot of different people, businesses and customers, friends, and people that like through interviews that I just met and talked to and asked questions about it, just to get a general idea. I put surveys out to hear from different people, and I was actually told through the surveys that people were perfectly fine paying more than $4.99 on a monthly basis for the app. So I had people already telling me that they were okay with that, and I could have charged that. And when I come up with, as I developed this app, and I'll tell you a very interesting story about how this even, I think a second, but when it comes to the process of even getting the app developed, like this was a step. Like this was part of it. Going from, I'm on the call for the pod. Yeah, that's fine. You can choose. Sorry, I'm not. No, I just.
You good?
You good?
Life comes at you fast.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. Can you give me that recheck? You know, every time they come in, it throws me off.
Do you remember what we
What was
said?
I just? Do you remember the last part?
Oh yeah.
The last
So
question that
we
was
were
just.
we were talking about how people were willing to pay more.
Oh, and I was talking about how I kind of talked to different people to figure out the cost. They said that it could have been more than what it was, right? And in the process, I was just like, I could charge more, but when I got my app developed, the design that I originally made for the app that I have that has more features than what this one does. It does a lot, but it doesn't do as much as I want it to do. I had an entire app idea visual created that has an app purchasing created with this that comes with some other things that I'm planning for the future. And when I say future, probably in the next year to 2 years, I'll have that next version out, and that'll be different. But for this one that's here, this was one that I want. It needs to. I feel like it's a need. It's not really something about. Yeah. I have a job. You know what I mean. I'm not relying on money that comes from this. It's not something that I had to get. I didn't have to go to any investors for. Right. I did it fully out of my pocket, so I don't have any debt from it that I have to hold on to.
That's amazing.
So it's not like I'm worried. You know what I mean. And the overhead for it is also inexpensive. So I made sure I did everything to keep it sustainable without having to. Stress out about it, I guess.
And it's needed. It's needed because people need to know where stuff is. I mean, even in my own journey where I'm like, okay, where is a black supermarket? Where is a black bank? Where is a black boutique? And when you are home, like we're here in Baltimore, like I kind of created a community where I know certain things to go to, but when I go out of town and I want to support people, no idea. I don't know these people. I don't even know the street names. So this app is very important, especially when it comes to location, because you don't want to just support locally in your neighborhood, which is not a bad thing, but when you do travel, how can we also keep that dollar circulating in the black community? And that's the main piece of it. It's not just purchasing local business in your local neighboring area, but partnering with people all over. And so for the app, is it only for the United States only? Like, is it just nationwide, or is it international?
Not necessarily. Okay, technically yes. Right now it's set up where it's only for the U.S. From when I got it set up with the coding. So that's like an example. So I'll kind of tell the story now that kind of explains that. I had a mentor that I was talking to in reference to the app, and I told him how I have a team that I work with, right? And these are different people that I talk to. Like when you asked, I do it by myself, and I was like, well, not necessarily. Like I have a bunch of different people that I use throughout the process.
Right.
But when I was talking to him, I was telling him about a hiccup I had, how there were certain things that I wanted to be done with the app, and as I'm learning, he's the one that actually introduced me to the program to learn how to actually get the coding done myself.
Okay.
So before I came to him, he was saying, well, if you have taken any steps towards your developer, you need to trash it, and start completely over from scratch with your own idea. And by this time, that's a big deal, right? That's like over $10,000 of an investment. You want me to throw that away and just start from scratch? And he's a poker player, so he's also he does a bunch of different things. But he plays poker, so that'll let you know at least for him, money you can it comes and goes.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm gonna say he's a risky man,
right?
High risk man.
Yeah. So he was just like, scratch it and start from scratch, like literally scratch it and start from scratch. And I was like, that's a big investment. Talking to my wife about it, she was like, no, we're gonna basically make it a both and, right? Make it a win-win. So what I did was I took the design that was originally developed and I pushed through with it, like the one that's currently available.
Mm-hmm.
And that has access to certain features, but for me to not have to get an investor, I took out certain features for this app to be done.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So when the next version comes out, it'll have basically everything this one can do, but just when people see this and they see what this is capable of, you be like, what else can you add to another one? But I basically took the idea of, or the concept of, think of Yelp Eventbrite, Amazon, and Instagram. It's like one merged platform, and I merged that into what this is.
I mean, that's awesome, though. That's dope.
Yeah, that makes sense. You start off with the core spirit of what you're trying to get in front of people, and then once they get that, you can move on, add more things. Yeah.
So once the app gets to a certain level, how do you want this to evolve? Because I know it's not just about this particular app.
Right.
I know you have so many ideas, but what would you envision, in the next couple years? What would you like for your brand to be?
I need programs set up in different cities that can help within the community. So my biggest task is probably going to be, I know I'm going to need to have some team in place that's going to help manage anyone that may need support when it comes to the interactions on Mansa Wealth. But one thing that I do is I'm taking 25% of everything that comes from Mansa Wealth and I'm investing it back into the community. So
awesome.
I need to know, right? Like, of course, I have people that I know within the community from as a teacher, but I know that there are many more students around this country outside of just my students that need support.
Yeah.
So finding ways to really, my plan is as businesses grow in certain areas, I'll have some sort of version of a outreach program or group for that area that is responsible for making sure that people get the proper support, whether that be you're behind on a payment and you need support with paying off something so you don't lose your house, or you don't have no food and you actually need, like, or say it's even, and I would like to I like to learn how to fight the system the right way. You know what I mean? So my thing is, I'll get a bunch of money and buy up a block and then lower the price so people can go live there and people be mad, but I got the money. So that's like I'm thinking of doing that even this year now, right? Like I'm in the process of selling my current home to get a new home, and I want to take part of the investment from this home to pay off certain debt, reinvest, get a home, and then also buy a secondary location that can be rented out. So I'm always thinking of how can I make sure that every come up for me can be a come up for somebody else. Yeah. And that's partially where this came up too. It's like everybody can win. You know what I mean? Everyone can win. It's just we have to think about that. We fight love so much with hate, and it's like, hate is why we're where we're at in the first place.
Exactly. You get together and you create more things and opportunities for other people. And it's funny that you said that because I was watching Tiffany Haddish, We Ready season 2. And although I'm not particularly fancy about her as a comedian per se, I love her as a person because she has the mindset is the higher she climbs, the more ladders she will give to other people. And when she created that series on Netflix, I don't know if people knew this, but everything came out of her pocket. She didn't have anyone investing into her like that. Like all the money, this was her baby idea to put other comedians that might not be the Kevin Harts of the world. And, she was able to create this comedy special to show these people who have been grinding and being able to create a platform such as Netflix. But she paid that money out of her own pocket. She didn't have this master plan that was going to be invested by, other TV companies and things like that. They didn't care about that shit. They just, so she took the time out to use her own money to create a space where Black comedians could be seen. And very, how it correlates to you, Joe, is that you're doing the same exact thing. You're creating things that, although it can get you some type of financial freedom within your own right, whatever your goals are, but you're constantly giving ladders to those in need. And that's how you create community. That's how we can bridge this economic gap between us and other ethnicities. We just need to be more communal. We need to create things that will bring us together. And something as simple as being a Black directory is monumental, especially when we are so oversaturated by things and we don't even realize at all what's really even out there, because everything is like an algorithm, right? Like you guys understand tech in a way, like that everything is about money. Everything that you see on your phone is advertised to you. Every time you click something, every time you read something more than 30 seconds, your phone is collecting data, and it's only skewed one way. So it's like it's hard for you to even find smaller companies, even if you wanted to, because based on how the SEO or whatever is set up, it's hard to find, your local mom and pop shop unless you already been there or someone word of mouth that said like, hey, you need to go down Ray Ray's. They have the best, chicken and waffles ever. So this app I think will definitely bring more opportunities for Black people, but just to be more communal and just be able to support
awareness.
It's definitely needed. We need this. And to your point that you said a couple of years ago you wanted to do this and you didn't think the timing was right. I hope the people who are listening to this is a prime example that you should never give a shit about what's happening in the outside world, because every idea that you have, God would not give it to you if it wasn't meant to be birthed. So like if Rihanna,
light from within you.
Yeah, like if Rihanna thought the same thing, like, oh, everybody has their own perfume line, everyone has their own skincare line, like she wouldn't have made history. You know what I mean? Like same thing with the Fenty fashion shows. Like, Victoria's Secret is damn near out of business, and she created her own lingerie. If she had that same mindset, she wouldn't have her lingerie out and she wouldn't be able to create jobs for people of color, women, men of all sizes, So I just hope that people who are listening to this are inspired and just understand that your ideas, they come from within and they need to be birthed. I mean, not every idea is a great idea, but
you won't know till you let it out.
Exactly.
See if it flies or not.
And I'll say with even to plug with that one till you let it out. And it was Steve Harvey. He said, and I'm gonna butcher it, but I'm gonna do my best. But along the line, he said something along the lines of basically, if you're given an idea to a small-minded person, or if you want an idea not to grow, or if you want to, basically the best way to kill an idea is to tell it to a small-minded person. There you go. That's what he said. If you want to kill a big idea, tell it to a small-minded person. They're saying that God gives you the idea for you. So when someone doesn't understand it, they're not supposed to understand it because it wasn't given to them for them to see or for them to understand, because it's not their calling or their vision, it's yours. So often it's like any idea you have, you don't know if it is or isn't your idea. So for you to not even take a shot and do something to pursue it is you possibly missing out on an opportunity. So that's why when I say, oh, I have this thing I've done, anytime I have an idea, I'm going to push it. I'm going to take it as far as I can in that moment, and then I'll hold it where it is. But then I'll keep it. So that way when I'm ready to activate it, I can get back into it and let it roll, right? It's just, I feel like always writing them down. Like write the ideas, write down everything. Every single time you think of something, and if people don't, I even say it to my students, like sit down and intentionally give yourself time to think of what you want to do, what impact can you create on your own. Write it out. Right? Anything you want to do is possible. People make, and if it's money related, people make money in any way. You can make it any way right now. It doesn't matter whether you are dropping. Imagine who thought of Instacart. Imagine how big that's going to end up being the more this COVID continues to press on. No one's going to want to go to a grocery store. For months. Timing. Yeah, exactly. And I'll say one big thing that should be plugged on is when you are trying to have a business, and one thing that Mansa Wealth pushes is customer service.
Absolutely.
It's a big problem we have is we say, I want to go buy from a Black-owned business, but they don't have good customer service.
They don't have the quality you've come to expect.
Yep.
Right, and that's sometimes that's true. And it is true. You go in there and it's like, man, why did it have an attitude? Or why are you acting like this? Why you got to be like that?
And
it's
be professional sometimes. Yep.
You have to be professional, and I feel like it's a double-edged sword, or it's kind of it's a two-way street, because on one end, as a business, you need to make sure that you take care of your customer. I talk about a customer service experience. But as a customer, people will make mistakes, and you have to be willing to give them a chance to fix the mistakes that they make.
Give them grace.
Tell them what they do wrong. Let them know, hey, I actually don't like that you did this. Give them a chance to fix it. And then if they don't even try to fix your mistake, if something that's different. Or their mistake, I'm sorry, that's different. But I just think it's important to make sure that you are thinking about a 12 out of 10 customer service experience.
The cycle with that has to break somewhere. And I always feel like the business is the one who stands the most to, step up, be the professional, put forth the image to break that cycle of, people either being unprofessional or poor service or rude. I think back to some of the educators I've had. in my life. Specifically some of the black women who've taught me in school, and they would make it a point of whether or not you're at an age where you understand what it means to be professional and correct and polite and whatnot. I'm going to be that, and I'm going to meet your, childishness and your unprofessionalism with my professionalism until you get it. I'm going to set forth that example. I'm not going to, just take the bad vibes that you give me and give it back.
Right.
I'm going to respond as professional until eventually you get it, and then you're going to do the same to others. So I always would like, to see, and I do enjoy when I do see black businesses do that, because I feel like, it's like it's education as well. It's
it
like
is.
We too can be professional with ours, and we can value things with hard currency, and we can start growing. It doesn't all have to be informal.
Yes.
And free.
And to play devil's advocate, like, the shit that pisses me off the most is that no one is going out of their way to talk all the shit that they want about McDonald's. They can give you the shittiest stuff. They can give you the shittiest service in the world. They can fuck up your complete order. I mean, like, your order, you got somebody else complete order. And then 2 weeks later, you're still at McDonald's. So I just think that, especially when it comes to the black community, I think clearly you want great service. Like, who wants to be treated like shit on purpose? But at the same time, when it comes to these larger conglomerate companies, make sure you keep that same energy, because Walmart gives me terrible anxiety.
Anxiety is the word for
it. I can't go in there. Any place that has locked up soap is not a place that I should be at. That's not a good place for me. However, but nobody complains about that. They're like, oh, well, these are just the rules and this is how it's going to be. So if someone is being late, or if the lines are too long, or someone is treating you bad, we accept that. But then when we talk about our smaller businesses, especially black businesses, it's like, oh my God, the store didn't open at 9, it opened at 11 instead. Or and you got to understand, these are people who have families normally, and you can't compare someone's small barbecue restaurant to a Target. It's not going to be the same outcome, But I do believe that you should give businesses grace, because you have been treated like shit multiple times. I've been to places multiple times, and I have been back to those restaurants or those stores.
Abusive relationships.
Not at Target though. I love Target, but there have been so many. Yes. There have been so many instances where I'm like, okay, like, I didn't have the greatest time. Just because I didn't like this particular Ruth Chris doesn't mean I'm never going to go to Ruth Chris ever again. Right. So I just think people need to have that same mentality when it comes to black businesses. I think you should hold people accountable, but make sure you hold everyone accountable. Don't just single out these small business owners, because you really don't know what's happening behind the scenes. If somebody calls out, or if you have a sick child and you don't have staff, there's just so many things that go behind it. Once again, I'm not excusing bad behavior, but just please be realistic. And like Joe said, give a review, let people know so they can be held accountable and change their actions. At least give them the opportunity to change and grow for the better. My final question to you, Joe, is, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I actually added that piece to Mansa. So I added a feature where if you want to leave a review for any business, you can, but it won't be able to be until after they have actually purchased a product from that business.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, smart.
So hopefully that will avoid spam, how people go through when they try to give you a bunch of bad reviews and mess your stuff up. It's like, nope, you can't even leave a review unless you already spent money with this business.
That's a genius idea.
Man, because I'm an analyzer, so I'll try to think of all of the things that come up and try to find a way. Like, I thought of how one delay I had with releasing the app was security. I was like, how can I make sure that I keep it safe? And even though it was already safe, I got a dedicated server for it. I have my own everything. Everything is literally, nothing is on any shared server, any shared data, or anything is in anything. Everything is encrypted and protected. And after getting everything set up, the issue that I had was, if someone created an account and they try to sell a product on here, how do I know that they are even a legitimate business? If how does a customer know? Because say I don't see every single person that joined as soon as they join. We're at 10K plus people that have businesses on this app, and they're just coming through. right? That's a lot to manage. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, as a person who wants to be in control of it, it's like if you hold on to this forever, you're never going to release it, and you're never going to even figure out how to roll with the punches.
Yep.
So release it, and then take your notes, right? I would advise don't do anything for at least 9 months and just collect data, figure out what works, what doesn't work, how things are. But I had to push it to a space where I added a report feature. So if you're on the app and you see something that you don't like, or something that's suspicious, or you did something with somebody or a business on there, and anything to see, or say you go to their location and their location is not where they say they are, you can report a business at any time. And anytime you report a business, whether that's spam or whether that's something that seems like it's an inauthentic service or fraud or whatever it may be, I can always monitor that, and then I can flag accounts and disable accounts. So I'm keeping it as airtight as I can, just to keep that same like security step of, making sure that everybody is taken care of and protected. Right?
You
feel
thought
we
very
always
deeply
anytime we come
about
up, think of oh my gosh, Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm like, if they've done it before on land, they're gonna find a way to get rid of something if they don't want it up there. And if you can find a way to connect businesses across the entire country, not even just in one city, but the entire country,
Absolutely.
Like, you need to
That changes
expect what can they try to do to jack it up. That's why I said I'll pay for my own server. I'll pay for whatever I have to pay for to make sure that it's as safe as possible. Because I don't this isn't as great of an idea that it is. I know for some people they're not going to like this, because it's going to take the money away from where it's going, and it's going to keep it where it is.
That's always
the case.
what happens. You shake the wrong tree, and that's when you see the bees come out.
Yeah. You'll get to definitely see who's really marginalized.
Really.
So for you, Joe, my final question to you is, what would you say to people who want to start a business or has an idea? What would you say to these people who is scared or confused and feel like they don't have the right resources? What would you suggest?
Honestly, I would say lean on the support that's here. You can go to Mansa Wealth Mobile. You can go to Mansa Wealth LLC. These are all websites. So mansawealthllc.com. It'll take you to the website, or you can just go to the App Store and download it. But through there, reach out. I'm always here to support. So if you have an idea and you just want to sit down and you want to say, hey, this is something that I want to do, and I just need to figure out if it's possible, or what's the next step, or what should I do from here? Or I don't know what I want to do at all, but I know I want to do something, but I don't know where to start, right? Or it really doesn't matter where you're at. If you're at any spot, whether you have no idea at all, or you already have an idea, or you have some version of it and you kind of have some steps done, but you just don't know what to do next, reach out. And I'm down to sit down, talk, support. I have plenty of resources or knowledge to share. And then what I don't know, at least I can direct you to someone who knows how to do it or knows more information about it. So, don't not do it. Right? I think the double negative, right?
Right,
but
exactly.
do it. Anything that you really want to do, take the time to go and push it. Like, it does not matter how old you are. I tell people that all the time. It doesn't matter if you're 12 years old, 11 years old, 8 years old. If you have an idea and you know how to use Google, you can make it work.
Absolutely.
If you don't know how to use Google and you can get on the phone and talk to somebody, you can make it work, because someone can still educate you on that. If you can read, you're good, right? So my thing is, pursue anything that you're committed for or you're committed to. If it's a dream and you think you have a little inkling of an idea that it might be a great idea, try it. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work and you go to the next one, or it does work and you just had a one great idea that just takes you to the next step, right? Not everything is your end all be all. God, he gives you what you need at the time that you need it. So sometimes you may be doing one thing, thinking that you have your own story, your own path, and really he has something else for you.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I'm thinking I'm trying to be a millionaire by 30 because that was a goal I set. I wanted to be a millionaire by 30 years old and had no idea of how. And then I started thinking of this.
Yeah.
Randomly. But I didn't start thinking of this because I was thinking about money. I started thinking of this because I started thinking about how I can support and help other people. And now this came about. And now I see, oh, that's actually possible.
Yes.
So it's like, anything you want to do, I just think people have to just believe in themselves. And it's
Yeah,
hard because you don't have a lot of people around you that will tell you that,
Yeah.
or that'll tell you you can do
absolutely.
it.
Having
Like I
that
had a friend I
circle
spoke with the other
empowerment, yeah.
day. Yeah, you don't have that. I talked to someone yesterday who just said, they thanked me because I told them that they were telling me how they were stressed about certain things they want to get done, and I said, well, it's okay because I know if anybody can do it, you can do it.
Yep.
And to me, it was just a regular text. But then later on, I could tell that it resonated with them because they came back and said thanks because it was just nice to hear that because I tell that to myself, but I don't hear it from anybody else.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
So it's
easy to
just
forget
good to
that.
hear.
Yep. Sometimes that confirmation is definitely needed. That extra push, that extra boost, that extra words of encouragement. We all need it. We all have our bad days. We all are fighting our own personal demons. And sometimes our ego can get the best of us. But it's good to have people around and say, keep going, be inspired, do the work, once again, do the work. Because a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs and don't understand that it's about the work and
90%
showing up.
work, yeah.
Showing up for yourself most of the time and having the confidence to understand that, hey, no matter what happens, I'm going to get through this. And that's not an easy feat, especially when you're doing everything by yourself. So, Joe,
Yeah, you have to really disconnect with time. That
you
would be the
do.
feedback for anyone who's trying to grow a business or have a business. Whatever deadline you set in your head, right? Like you can have your deadline and push yourself to commit to it, but you have to be mindful that there's only 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
Yep.
There's only so much that you can do. And I just don't. I learned that I had better success when I no longer gave myself a set. Like I need to have this specifically done by this time. I just said every day I need to put X amount of time towards this business.
Yep.
And what I realized was I was getting actually more done because instead of me being focused on just a specific deadline, when I sit down on the computer, I'm rolling through checklist of things because I'm no longer just focused and stuck on one specific
Exactly.
goal. It's like, and
Yeah.
and doing it by yourself, like with me doing this by myself, it takes a lot because there's the piece of the designing, the coding and the developing, the customer service side, the website side, the actual domain and hosting side of things. Then there's the social media aspect of it, and I'm a one-man team.
Yeah,
I don't
it's a
have
lot of
like
moving
marketing
parts.
person. Right, and it's like you have to be patient. If I didn't do that, there's no way I can get every single aspect of my business done every day while being a full-time employee as a teacher and being a husband and having
father.
2 kids.
It's a lot.
It's not and a dog, right? It's not gonna work.
He's family too.
That's a whole nother thing. Dogs require a lot, and we're actually in the process of. We have micro bullies, so we're in the process of breeding micro bullies.
Oh wow!
Something that'll be in the mix come summertime. So that's just another piece, right? And it's like there's a lot of moving pieces, and if you get stuck on thinking about time, you should just. It's like think about productivity, right? As long as you're thinking about being productive and making sure that you're just getting things done that are towards whatever this goal is. Like I would still have a list out the things that you need to do, and then work them out. But not to stress over like, oh man, I didn't get this one thing I need to get done. It's all over. It's like no.
You can start over.
Whatever your coping mechanism is, do that. If it's wine, get wine. If it's something else, go ahead and get that. Right, chill a little bit, and then get back to it when you can.
Yeah.
But don't give up on it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. I will encourage everybody to make sure you download the app. It's officially out, or is it still in beta? Is it officially out?
No, it's out. It's out.
Okay. Yes.
I have. It's funny. I probably released it not even a full month ago, like for people to actually download it, and I'm around 40 downloads so far.
Yes, let's get them downloads up, people.
Different businesses. Yeah, people. Yes, if you have a business, that's the message. If you have a business, add your business.
Add
if
your
it's a startup,
business.
add it. But be mindful when you add your business, there will be other businesses on there. So make sure you look the parts.
Yes.
You need to have proper images. You need to have a great description. I want them to know who the owner is. Don't leave the owner description blank. Let them know who you are. Link up your website. Link up your accounts. It's just, everything is accessible on there. Ask questions. You have support. I'm here to help anybody that's trying to grow themselves, their business, their family, their community. I'm down to be your number one supporter. So.
And what's the website?
I just thank you guys for letting me be here. Oh, MansaWealthOfficial.com. and that's MansaWealth official official.com.
Yes, make sure you download the
And
app.
then through there, you can download it.
Yes, Black businesses, and even if you aren't a Black person, you still can support Black businesses. So everyone needs to be. There's no reason why you shouldn't sign up.
Oh, and yeah, plug it. Even because even if you don't have a Black business, and you say you have a white business, say you're a white-owned business owner, you can also have a business on the app if they did, but they would have to also understand that even if they get sales, their money is still going into the community.
Yeah.
Yep. That's great.
Yes,
because no matter
you
what,
have
if
no
your
choice.
business is on the platform, you need to know that every single sale you make, that 25% of that sales is going back into the community.
Exactly.
So they'll always know that their money is going there anyway.
Exactly.
I don't think I can legally tell. Legally, I know I can't discriminate. I know that's what my purpose is for the app, but I'm not going to say they can't. But they just need to know if they do, they will be also investing their money into the community that they are selling to.
Exactly. So let's run this up, people. Download the app, go to the website, and, if you have questions, please contact Joe. He is a very available person. He's a very nice guy. I'm so proud of you. And I wish you nothing but success on your endeavors. I'm here as a resource as well. Mm-hmm. We're here as a podcast, for our audience, but we're also here for our people, internally as well. And that is the whole point of being communal, being able to work together, build businesses, and make people's dreams come true. And especially my Black people, because we need to bridge this economic gap. And this is one of the many ways that can definitely help towards that. So thanks again for coming on the show. Come back anytime, and, we'll be in touch.
Absolutely. Awesome hearing
from you. For
sure.
Thanks a lot for having me here, just sharing your time. I appreciate you all, and I can't wait to get a chance to, one, be able to be back on here with you guys, and two, see where this can go from here.
Absolutely.
Go get the app. This is your chance to be a day one supporter.
So for our Ask the Reef for today, Shannon DM'd me, and she has a question. She was talking to this guy for a month, and things were good, but he randomly ghosted her. And today, he actually DM'd her, and she wants to know, should she address him for his ghosting ways, or should she just block him?
Situation.
It depends. Mm-hmm. See, I'm Petty Betty. I'm definitely Petty LaBelle, but God is working on me. So I'm going to say what God wants me to say and not what Surrealise wants to say. Just block him. Because there's really no point of expelling that type of energy. Yeah. Especially, if they didn't get it the first time around, what makes you think they're going to get on the second? Yeah. He's a stranger, and he owes you absolutely nothing. And he showed his ass. He shows you exactly the type of person he is. And the fact that you want a do-over and we don't have no history doesn't make, to me, it's almost like insulting. Like, why are you even talking to me? Like, you already made your stance known that you don't fuck with me. And that's fine. But don't come back and act like everything's cool.
Yeah, no, we done with that.
Like, no apology, no nothing. It's just like a, hey, what's up? And like that pisses me off. It's one thing if it's like, hey, I know I ghosted you. I'm really sorry. Like, when maybe whatever the reason may be, I was going through a hard time. I really did like you, blah, blah, blah. Like, if it was like that, then have that conversation, because obviously this person is willing to be transparent. They're apologetic. I'm not saying that you should still date this person, but at least hear them out, because they are trying to do the right thing by amending their wrongs.
Trying to make some type of dialogue.
Exactly. But if somebody just say, hey, what's up? Or what you doing? Or hey, big head? Or whatever these these greetings that these people do, the answer is hell no. Like, the answer is hell no. The fact that you can type me anything without saying sorry is the first word, I can't fuck with you. So Shannon, don't even waste your unlimited daytime minutes on some fuckboy.
Protect your energy. Like,
for real. Like, what are you explaining yourself for, sis? He doesn't care. He just want to see if you are available. That's literally, and I'm pretty sure it's just to smash. Because normally, like, when people are that casual, that's normally am I wrong, Wallace?
You're not wrong.
Okay.
There's rules to this.
It's levels to this shit. And this is why I don't answer my damn DM unless it's like to help y'all out, because some of y'all people are just nasty.
Who raised you?
Nasty. Yeah, you would definitely not make your mother proud. So Shannon, my personal opinion is fuck no. Don't do it. The answer is no. Block him gracefully, and you just keep living your best life. It's no point of wasting God's precious energy on something so wasteful. Whatever. So for our words of wisdom this week, it is never be limited by other people's limited imaginations. And I know we just talked about that. And that was from Dr. Mae Jemison. She is the first Black astronaut. And I say that to say is that everybody is not going to see your vision. And you have to be okay with that. Everybody is not going to be your cheerleader. And you're going to have to be okay with that. Because some people just do not have the imagination, the mindset, the tenacity, anything to even have an inkling of understanding of what you're trying to do. So don't be discouraged when people are not rooting for you. You have to understand that outside of just jealousy, people can't see it. They don't see it as obtainable. So don't get so butthurt that people are not, able to see your vision. There's a lot of blind people out here that can see, but they can't see, if you feel me on that. So be encouraged, and stay committed to whatever you want to do. Don't stop because of you're trying to get validation from someone else. It doesn't work that way. You need to validate yourself, pour into yourself, pour into your dream, and pour into your vision, because it's yours. It's your gift. So you worry about that. Don't worry about what the other people can't do or can't see, because to be honest, it's none of their damn business to begin with.
Never was. Yep.
I want to thank everyone for joining me today. This is so exciting. And please make sure you download the app.
Go get it.
These things are very, very important. And it's not just about helping one Black business owner. It's about helping multiple Black businesses in the future. So even if you're a customer or a business, make sure you download the app, because we have to create these spaces for ourselves. We can't expect other people to do it for us. We have to do it our damn selves. So thanks again, and see you next week.
See y'all.